we continue to consider loving the way Jesus loved. The Corinthian church, or the Corinthians, boasted of superior wisdom and knowledge. They bragged about being more spiritual than others. They had overinflated sense of their own self-importance. So Paul wrote to the Corinthian church and told them how puffed up they were with pride. The root of their spiritual problem was a lack of love. Why are we rude to certain people in certain situations? Is it because we love ourselves more than others, and because sometimes we hardly love other people at all? John 13:1 says that Jesus loved the disciples to the end. Jesus will love us to the end also. He loves. John used a word for end that means will never end, never ceasing, everlasting. And John 13:1 is a turning point in the Gospel of John. Chapter 12 ended with Jesus announcing that he had come to save the world. And then chapter 13 begins with Jesus showed them the full extent of his love. And then Jesus washed their feet. The immediate context is washing feet. Actions speak louder than words. Teaching by example. The greater context was the cross. Jesus did something. A parable that showed his generosity and humility and courtesy was the washing of feet. And we don't know, maybe Jesus deliberately did not have somebody there to wash feet so that he could show the disciples the importance. He was not forgetting who he was. Now, we don't quit being who we are because we do something like washing feet. He knew he was the one that had come from heaven and would return, but he offered his service anyway. He was God, and yet he stooped to wash the dirty feet of sinful disciples. He didn't demand anything. He simply washed their feet. Peter questioned what Jesus was doing. It's an interesting passage. Jesus was washing the feet, and first Peter said, "You'll not wash my feet." And Jesus said, "Well, if I don't, you can't have a part of me." And then Peter said, "Well, just wash me all over then." And he didn't understand. He wanted to, he rejected first, then he wanted to control. And finally, Peter submitted, and Jesus washed his feet. Peter was rude to Jesus, telling him that he wasn't going to wash his feet. Peter was boasting that he was already clean. Didn't need his feet washed. 1 Corinthians 13:5, the kind of love that God has, that Jesus had, Paul wrote, "Love is not rude." The parable was about life. We're saved. We need a daily cleansing. Peter didn't need cleansing all over, just his feet, but he needed cleansing. Also, Peter told Jesus to stop, and when he did, Jesus didn't get irritated. He just kept serving. We need to be model example of Jesus. When Peter understood again, Jesus assured him of his salvation. Jesus was patient and kind. He was not irritable. Jesus showed us how to have love, if we will see it. In John 13:12, Jesus said, "Do you understand what I've done for you?" Are we called to serve the way Jesus served and to love the way that he loves? If so, then we need to follow this model. But this is a place we fail over and over. We need to allow the love of Christ to flow through us and do what he did. If we're followers of Jesus, then no act of service is beneath our dignity or our position. We can serve. Our calling is to do for others, setting aside our arrogance and dedicating our lives to loving service, and then receiving the blessings that Jesus promised to give. Sometimes in envy, we think about what we cannot get, or what we can get, or what's going to happen to us, or what will it cost us, or what will people think. Sometimes we think about what we can get and not give. We serve with what we have. Some people think they don't have enough to serve, enough to give, but we serve with what we have to give. And we have been given a gift of communication. And so we can share with others words of encouragement. We can use them to edify others. We can use our words to turn attention to the grace of God, and use our words to be complimentary of others, to encourage. Actions are helping somebody that can't do for themselves. Influence can form a network to help someone. The greatest thought is to carefully decide that no one deserves our harsh judgment, but all need to know the love of Jesus Christ. Let's practice not being rude, but love the way Jesus loved. So don't worry about this one. It'll just be kind of a break it up.
All right.
Worry about the computer.
Gotcha. Okay. All hail the power of Jesus' name. Let angels prostrate fall. Bring forth the royal diadem and crown him Lord of all. Bring forth the royal diadem and crown him Lord of all. Ye chosen seed of Israel's race, ye ransomed from the fall. Hail him who saved you by his grace, and crown him Lord of all. Hail him who saved you by his grace, and crown him Lord of all. Let every kindred, every tribe on this terrestrial ball to him all majesty ascribe, and crown him Lord of all. To him all majesty ascribe, and crown him Lord of all. And he is a great and mighty Lord of all. Mighty is our God, mighty is our King, mighty is our Lord, ruler of everything. Glory to our God, glory to our King, glory to our Lord, ruler of everything. His name is higher, higher than any other name. His power is greater, for he has created everything. Mighty is our God, mighty is our King, mighty is our Lord, ruler of everything. Glory to our God, glory to our King, glory to our Lord, ruler of everything. Father, we love you, we worship and adore you. Glorify thy name in all the earth. Glorify thy name, glorify thy name, glorify thy name in all the earth. Jesus, we love you, we worship and adore you. Glorify thy name in all the earth. Glorify thy name, glorify thy name, I'm gonna sing one for you to stick in as if you want me to do a solo. Well, what did I do with it? I lost it. All right?
An intro piece.
This is what I was just gonna sing. If you needed me singing something else, this is not in the Sunday morning service at 11, but if you, no, you could use some of that, couldn't you? So I don't need to sing another one, do I?
Not necessarily, no.
All right, so let me just do a,
Intro and a postlude.
okay, gotcha. Okay,